Hey, what's up guys? How's it going? Alright, so I'm gonna make this super quick. I recently uploaded a video of the Tesla Model 3, did a review on it, and it kind of went viral, you know, almost 900 views. For me, that's pretty good for a pretty small channel. So yeah, I'm proud of it. I'm gonna put a little snippet to that right here.
You guys to see from the front-facing camera. So, and like, that's just a testament to the fact that people are buying these cars.
And if that doesn't get you to watch it, I don't know what will. Alright, so right now we're going to be doing a quick video of me talking with the owner of the car I reviewed and going over the, Tesla electrical automotive industry, how it deals with regulations, Tesla's competitors, how conventional car manufacturers are dealing with it, all that good stuff. And yeah, hope you guys like it, and let's get to it.
Alright guys, we're doing a car talk on Tesla and where it stands in the electric car industry as well as the entire car industry. I'm here with Greg. He's the owner of this car and he is a huge car enthusiast. So let's just talk about where Tesla is, what's Tesla been doing, and I guess in your opinion, why do you feel comfortable getting a car from Tesla, which is still a relatively young car, a young company, excuse me. So like, can you share a little bit of your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, what we were just talking about was sort of Tesla's advantages in the marketplace, and most people see their advantage is they make great electric cars, and they're the first people to make cool electric cars with performance, which really, that was when they first came out, was in the time of the Prius, and that's really not what makes them so dominant. They are ahead in all those aspects. Big VW brands like Audi and Porsche are coming. They're also having similar manufacturing and battery issues like Tesla had in the beginning. However, a big advantage that Tesla does have is their charging infrastructure. There is third-party charging infrastructures which Teslas can use as well as other electric cars. However, no superchargers, which is a huge advantage.
Yeah.
But really, the biggest thing is because all cars are going autonomous. Even non-car manufacturers like Uber are investing in autonomous technologies. Ford invested over $1 billion in a company called Cruise, which is going to make autonomous software for their cars. And it's not just that Tesla is ahead, but they have two aspects which are the other competitors are not even trying to pursue. So they're not even behind. They're just not even in the same direction. Those two things are simulated versus real autonomous miles, and then the other thing is the sort of autonomous technologies you use. So on that first thing is Tesla has over 1 million miles driven in their cars with autonomous mode activated. So
yeah, what do you think about the fact that they're just taking your data on like your driving data? I feel like people are very concerned from like a privacy standpoint.
Well, it's all anonymous, so they don't know when they receive the data.
Okay.
Of course, maybe there's a potential that they can backtrack it, if they really needed to see who was driving.
Yeah, but they have that information, like if a breach, I feel like there's a period of people out there that we're gonna, people really speculate, oh my god, if they get hacked, then everyone's information and their addresses and...
But really the benefits you get from sharing the data vastly outweigh any sort of insecurities from privacy, because when you're in autonomous mode, there's two real benefits that are happening. And one is that exact road which you are driving, the car is going to be better every time it drives the road. In autonomous, it will become better. And for instance, they have even humans at Tesla who review autonomous mode video, and that can be sent to programmers who then implement it in a machine learning algorithm, which then feeds it back, and then that updates all the cars, and they're all better. So in one aspect, it makes them better at driving a specific stretch of road or piece of road. And then two, which is the huge advantage over other autonomous manufacturers or software engineers who are using only simulated fleet information. So when you use simulation, you cannot account for everything, because if you were able to account for everything in a simulation, then that's pretty good evidence that we are living in a simulation ourselves.
Elon Musk. Isn't that his theory? Elon Musk thinks we're living in a simulation.
He did think that, but of course he made the statement during the statement that I just kind of reiterated, which is, if you were able to account for everything in a simulation, be able to do that, the value from having real cars in real autonomous situations is huge. And there are so many instances. Like for instance, at first, you know, they would program the car to recognize cyclists and as well as cars.
Yeah.
And then the program would be confused when he would see bicycles on the back of a car. It would get confused. So it would get confused. It would maybe make a mistake. And every single time that the driver intervenes and breaks the autonomous, that information gets sent to Tesla. They review it, and again, they can implement it through programming, get sent to machine learning, and the cars get better every time because they assume that the human, for now, is better at driving the car than the autonomous software.
That's
so if you correct it, it knows it made a mistake, and it will be sent to Tesla, and the cars will get better.
Yeah, it's interesting how like they're saying that humans is the authority on this. It's not like, oh, you know, autonomous cars are going to take over and do something you don't want it to do. So that's interesting design intent. I think that's the way you should be, honestly.
Yeah, the way that Tesla is kind of approaching these solutions is really at a heightened human level. Like for instance, it knows its whereabouts through cameras, versus other manufacturers are using very expensive LiDAR sensors, which are extremely expensive, quite complicated.
You say he doesn't believe in LiDAR. He's saying
he doesn't believe in it for cars. Like for instance, SpaceX uses LiDAR to, you know, like when they dock with the International Space Shuttle or system. And,
ISS?
ISS, exactly. So they use LiDAR there, but for cars, it's not quick enough, and because the cameras react and they work like eyes do.
You're talking like latency, like the lag between.
Like if someone jumps out in front of the car, a GPS system would not be able to make that to know that in time, and LiDAR wouldn't be either. The camera system knows it, because not only does it work like your eyes, but it can see around the whole car.
Dang.
The entire time.
You
can't look in the same way.
Some guys gonna be like, well, if you program the LiDAR at a refresh rate, he's gonna like.
Well,
some guys gonna go.
Of course, there's a disagreement because other manufacturers are pursuing LiDAR, but Tesla is ahead, and I agree with them that for now. And of course, the machine learning, everything is very important because, you know, for instance, if you're in a snowy condition or really poor visibility, just like your actual eyes, you are unable to see the lanes. So counterintuitively, the most important thing is not where the lanes are. The most important thing is for the system to understand drivable space. So drivable space is a space where the car can operate and drive in safely. So that's the most important thing, especially when conditions are, you know, there's poor visibility. The most important thing is that you're not veering off the road completely or into oncoming traffic, not necessarily that you're 100% in the lines.
Yeah.
So that's a very important distinction they have with the fully simulated competitors. Another thing is just the complete devotion and like specialization. We were talking about the new chip, which has been is retrofittable to older Teslas, but has been built into new Teslas S and X since February, and Model 3 since April. And this is the April 27th car, so it does have the new chip, which is specifically designed for Tesla, specifically designed for autonomous driving. It's manufactured by Samsung in Austin. However,
are they going to charge for that for cars that don't have it?
That's a good question.
But
that's
like,
a good question.
How is that going to affect like the resale value of the cars that were bought before February? You know what I mean?
Not significantly. It's just a better chip system, and but as of 2016, every single car, every single Tesla comes with the hardware necessary to be fully autonomous. The regulations are the most lagging, and then of course the software is the next part. So this year they'll be releasing updates for cars as of 2016 and more recently to detect stoplights and to drive autonomously within cities.
Okay.
So that's what's coming this year, and then of course they've already driven they already have, you know, driven tons of millions of autonomous miles.
Yeah.
And really there are lots of destinations that the car can already, you know, it can merge onto freeways and off of freeways. There are a lot of situations where it can get you from A to B completely autonomous. However, the regulations are not there. So once they are there, it's sort of game over. And then a whole separate discussion is because really, you know, people are here. I'm looking at Model 3 videos to decide whether or not to have purchased one. And that's definitely a question you still have to ask yourself. In a year or so, the question is going to be whether or not to buy a car at all. Since, you know, a lot of people already rely on Uber and Lyft and stuff like that, especially if you live in the environment of a city.
Yeah.
And, but in the future, it's going to be robo-taxis is what Tesla
We're talking like, wait, I feel like the government's going to lag so hard on that to like, and like lawyers.
Well, you think that,
companies,
but we're in a super interesting middle period right now because we have cars that have no nannies, no help, no assistance, whatever.
There are a lot of them,
and they're only driven by humans. And then we have cars that are in between. But in the future, when we have fully autonomous cars that are as safe as a Tesla structurally, and then have the safety, competency, and reliability of a robust AI system, it will be more dangerous and more expensive to insure a human driver.
Unless the robots go rogue, then we're all screwed. But like, okay, that's like a very idealistic. Looking at it now, because like, yes, Tesla's doing a lot of things right. What do you think Tesla's doing wrong? Like, it's not a perfect up. It's still learning.
Absolutely, it's not perfect. My delivery experience was not
oh, yeah, talk about that.
Not very special. You know, I mean, of course, it's never fun. You know, this car before tax, I think after tax and stuff like that, it was like 6170. You know, the options are it's a dual motor. And deep blue metallic, which was $1,000, and then it doesn't have the white interior. It has the base interior, and then it has the 19-inch wheels coming, which are $1,500, and then, which is not included in the price as of now. And then it has the enhanced autopilot, which at the time which I ordered the car was $5,000, and now it's $6,000. So, you know, when you spend that kind of money, and yes, when you show up to pick up the car, you're signing away that money, and it's never nice to be giving someone else all your money.
The company's burning through cash, so you know that money's never gonna come back.
Yeah. So the delivery centers are not, you know, beautiful places. They're not in the nice places like the showrooms are.
They shut down the showrooms, right? Aren't
the showrooms? I thought they were gonna be you know, just get rid of them and it's all gonna be an online experience.
Yeah.
However, I know the local one is actually going to an even bigger showroom because they have the Model Y coming. So they're gonna have 4 cars.
Oh yeah, the subcompact version of this, like the
crossover version between like this and a Model X. Yeah, so that car is coming, and you know, the release of that car actually made me more confident in getting this car, because getting a car that is so, you know, it's a technological piece. I relate this more to my iPhone rather than a traditional car. And the biggest annoyance with getting an iPhone is that it's semi-obsolete the next year. It's so much better the next year. But the Model Y is coming and will be offered, which is not going to be delivered for 2 years, at least. It's going to be offered with the exact same battery options as this car. So I know for at least 2 years, plus whatever they expect to be making, how long they expect to be making the Model Y, the battery packages of this car will not be obsolete. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's so hot right now.
It's okay. Yeah. Clear. Let's keep going. But no, I mean, overall, there's a lot going on in this space, and it's an interesting industry to just keep track of, and all the stuff that's going on, not just from Tesla, but from the competitors. There are still companies like NIO, Karma Automotive.
Okay, well let's talk pros and cons of all of them. So we're in a Tesla. I think pros are definitely the autonomous, the whole machine learning
technology there.
They make the safest cars in the world. This is the safest car you can get for this money.
Yeah.
And then if you want the safest manufactured car, it's going to be a Model X just because of its size.
Yeah.
And
it's got safety, it's got tech. It still needs to learn more from, like, in terms of mass production, in terms of quality control. Because I mean, yeah, there were like paint chips on cars when they're getting delivered. You experienced that too.
It's way better now. It's absolutely the only thing I had on this. The panel gaps are all fine. I had a small chip on the ledge but this is something they fix as well. I had one tiny chip And you know, most people don't even notice that, but that's the one thing I had. Of course, in the beginning when they're rushing out cars, they had much larger issues.
Yeah.
But no one expected Audi and Porsche to have the same issues, but they're having huge manufacturing issues.
Yeah,
even though
they've
made so many cars and have had so many decades of experience. When you go to all electric, it's a big challenge.
Yeah.
And everyone gave, you know, Tesla gets lots of credit for what they've been able to achieve, but they're the first ones to blame with issues as well. Things I don't like, I think, you know, as someone who loves cars and also someone who loves design, if you look at the challenges of designing this car, they're very minimal. It almost looks like a skateboard. You have 4 wheels, basic suspension, brakes, and you have the battery pack. Besides that, you're basically unlimited to the design. Of course, you want more aerodynamics.
Yeah, for efficiency.
But you know, the designs are very boring. You know, I don't think they're necessarily ugly or anything like that. But if you look at electric concepts from big manufacturers, and of course, concepts really very rarely reflect what the production car is going to look like. But it's quite you have so much opportunity to build a really cool car. You know, and it's really quite boring to look at. And a thing here in California, which is a reason I'm looking at getting aftermarket wheels, potentially a wrap and the D-chrome and all that. When you only offer 5 colors, 2 wheel options and 2 interiors, and you live in California where every other car is a Model 3, you know, there's a cool camaraderie where you're like, hey, we're Tesla guys. Yeah. But at the same time, like, you see, and we all have the same car. It's less special, you know. Yeah. Which of course is a superficial thing, but
I mean, a car community, everyone puts their personality in a car. It's a way you can express yourself, similar to clothes.
Absolutely. And you know, it's of course, when you add colors and add different stuff, it increases manufacturing complexity and stuff like that. And I think it'll come. You know, I don't see a reason why not.
So let's quick transition to the other companies, since we're going on Tesla a lot. Okay. Giving them a lot of hard time.
Porsche.
Okay.
Porsche is coming out with
the Taycan. Yeah.
And then I forget the name.
Actually, no guy who drove one. One of the pre-production ones.
So the Taycan, and then they have a sort of almost like a Subaru Outback sort of philosophy car coming out as well. Huge production issues like Tesla, and their concept was absolutely stunning.
It looked beautiful.
Really cool doors, suicide back doors, all that. The production car, you can look at the spy shots. You can look at the early cars. Far uglier. And again, the Tesla is not, you know, a Pininfarina design amazing thing. Yeah. But the Taycan is not what it's supposed to be. And of course, in terms of, you know, Tesla became cool because it's an electric car that destroys performance cars in terms of acceleration and stuff like that. And Porsche is a massive racing history and a very historic brand. So I'm sure they're going to bring a lot of performance to their electric vehicles as well.
I have one actually, Hyundai. I did a Hyundai. Yeah, they have their electric, their Ioniq, their Kona EV. I'll link a video to that. I did a video on that, and I talked about how it was like the Model Y competitor before the Model Y was out, and it has torque, it has range, but there's so few of them actually being delivered because of their manufacturing problems, that kind of something similar to Porsche with their batteries, because they're made by LG or something, and like the dealership I reviewed from only had 2 in stock. So they're going to put markups on it, bring up to 55. At that point, I mean, I'm not going to spend that much money on a Hyundai, and I'm not going to pay the price because they're having problems manufacturing. That's just a huge risk and a huge, you know, premium to pay for a car with a not great interior. And you know, so they're missing the market. They're going through the growing pains, and I mean, you can say, yeah, Tesla's going through other growing pains, but they're also going to do the stuff that companies are now learning.
Yeah, so with the example you just brought up, they're kind of getting hit from 2 sides. They're getting hit from a brand like Hyundai and Kia already have, which is brand recognition. You know, people don't look at that car and think it's an expensive luxury item. You know,
people like Tesla so much. We're getting waved at for that. This is great.
You know, they already. That's why they're coming out with Genesis, and that's why why Toyota has Lexus and Nissan has Infiniti. Is because they're trying to get into a luxury market when they make economy cars. Tesla started out with the Roadster, which is a cool performance car. Then they have the S and the X, were six-figure cars. So when people look at a Model 3 at first, Tesla is associated with expensive, luxury, cool cars.
Yeah.
So they nailed that. You know, they definitely, and that's an issue that car has. And then the second issue is the price. You know, EVs are expensive, especially when something like the Kona, which is not a ground up EV. You know, they have
it's a car you can get right now with a gas engine.
Yeah, you can get it. So that's the whole advantage of this car. People are doing really cool projects where they're taking old cars, especially, and they're putting batteries in them. Now the performance issue is you're putting it where the engine was, so it's not at the very lowest, most central part in the car, which is a huge advantage when you design a ground-up EV.
Totally.
So yeah, Hyundai, that's a huge issue that they have.
Then you got the companies like Karma, Neo, Faraday Future, which is, you know, these are all companies that.
Can we talk about a really exciting, cool one?
All right.
Rivian. So
Rivian, yes.
Rivian in February.
They got money from
Amazon.
Amazon.
Got money, $700 million fund that was led by Amazon, and recently another $500 million by Ford. And they they launched with their truck. They're talking 400 miles, sub 3 seconds, 0 to 60, all that good stuff. Ground up EV, so a lot of like the utility benefits that a ground up EV design gets. And because the Model Y was originally supposed to be a truck, and I was excited for that because I came from a 4x4 car, and it's cool, and especially like SUVs, they have, because of their center of gravity and their weight, they have and the torque, they have even more to benefit from an electric powertrain, even more so than cars.
Except for range. You're gonna take your car off road. You're gonna need those, you know, those auxiliary fuel tanks that you can fill in. You can't do with the electric car. So that's the biggest thing.
Off road, you know, and that's what's. You know, they're talking like 400 miles, I think, Rivian.
Wow.
And those cars look cool. They're cool. I saw them at the LA Auto Show. They look cool. They're taking deposits, and that is totally a car that you could get, you know, once it comes out, and if it has comparable reliability, build quality, and stuff to Tesla's safety, then you could totally get that car over a Tesla. But they have zero autonomous.
They don't have a track record. They're like, the only reputation they have right now is they're getting funding from companies with reputation. Like, they have cars, but they don't have a lot of customers. They have customers. Yeah.
No, they don't have car.
They don't have a car that I'm driving right now. I'm not driving a Rivian, you know? So that's scary. Producing, manufacturing, that's a big hurdle. So I don't know, man.
I think they're cool though.
Yeah, they got the cool factor.
Because they're going to be expensive.
Oh yeah.
So if you're going to charge that kind of money, you need a cool car. Because, you know, I think I see most Tesla people as owners getting them because they think they're cool. Whereas the first generation of EVs and stuff like that, and the Prius movement, all that, those people were getting in. There's some for just because they wanted to save gas money, but you're spending more money on the car that is more fuel efficient. But they're getting it because it's good for the earth.
Yeah.
You know? So with Tesla, you don't get that stigma, even though you are greatly helping the earth.
Battery production isn't good for the earth.
The whole thing built with a gigafactory and all that, it's much more renewable than like the Prius that had like nickel mined in like Canada, and then it was shipped to be refined in Europe and then shipped. You know, there's a whole lot of shipping costs. Even though, let's hypothetically say this, that the production of Tesla batteries in the cars is equal to the amount, like the emissions is equal to what an average car produces when it's manufactured and when it's driven. Let's say they're equal. The Tesla is still superior because the Tesla is emitting them at the factory, which is in the middle of nowhere, versus the gas car is emitting them in the middle of LA.
Sorry if we offend anyone that works in the Gigafactory. I know there's probably a nice city. I mean, probably good people in a good neighborhood.
It needs to be in the middle of nowhere. It needs to be in the middle of nowhere because they need all the sunlight. They need the acres for the solar panels, and because it's going to be the biggest building ever produced.
Yeah, it's true.
So you can't put that in the middle of a city.
The Boeing factory, which is now the biggest building.
And even if they had like a whole coal, unit powering the manufacturing, at least it's not. And of course, it affects the whole world. Tragedy of the commons. However, it's worse to have that same amount of emissions in a city.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
of course, it's not equal. You
Uh-huh.
know, the manufacturing, the batteries, and all that, it definitely does not equate to what cars are emitting themselves. Because even though gas cars are emitting, you know, the emissions, also their manufacturing as well also emits emissions. So
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you covered a lot of it, honestly, and like, that's the thing. There's so much we can go on for. This is, oh my god, it's a 25-minute video. Jeez, but hey, I'm gonna post this up. This is gonna be exciting to see. Let us know what you want to wrap it up here. What else unless you want to talk about this stuff, we'll include it. But I was thinking, I don't know, I'm gonna edit all this. That's what's going on in the back of my head. It's like, oh god, I was putting clips of like the Rivian. Sorry, but all right, let's do closing thoughts. Overall, I mean, you bought a car, so overall you're down for the Tesla. You
overall, right now, if you just need a car that's not a race car and is also not a Prius,
Mhm.
that is this safe, will start every time, and then, you know, if you want the, you know, all the acceleration, you know, you really can't beat this car.
Yeah.
You know, the price is comparable to the competitors, but then you don't pay gas, the maintenance is way less, so overall it's
There's
cheaper.
those hidden costs or those costs you don't see up front. Yeah, and I'll link the review that we just did on the car here if you guys want to check that out. Overall, my impressions are positive. I love this car. It's sick. It's got a lot going for it from the dealership when you get it, and then also in the future in terms of the technology updates that you can get. And I go into all the feature law stuff in the review, so check that out. And yeah, so that's pretty much all we're gonna talk about here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate it, bro.
Use my referral code, guys.
Yes, we'll put the
Use my
referral code in there. Help him get free supercharging, and yeah, hopefully we have a lot of subscribers by this time. Follow him on Instagram and all that good stuff. So yeah, we're gonna end it here. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.